I always wanted to win something, be it the lottery, an athletic competition, or something small like a new car. And ever since I was a little kid, I always knew that I was destined for greatness. And that day has finally arrived. Now, athleticism isn't really my forte, as you can probably tell by my Steve Rogers pre-drug physique. And that was probably the reason why I wasn't invited to play sports with my friends in school. Or was it that time? I said I was sorry. I didn't know I wasn't allowed to tackle him. He's on your team. I'm sorry, okay? I saw he had the ball, so I just went for it. You're playing tennis. So gaming has always been more my thing, but I always saw it as a relaxing, non-competitive hobby. So you can imagine my surprise when I found out that speedrunning was a thing. And I saw that people were really competing for the world record time in a game, which could be beaten the next day. And I thought to myself, that's stupid. I want one. So I started scouring speedrun.com, looking for a game that had reasonable times that could be beaten. So that eliminates every major franchise since the 80s. Don't get me wrong, I wanted a world record, but I quickly realized that meant I had to put in time and dedication, two things I notoriously have a very little amount of. But in my research, I did see that there was different categories under one game. There could be glitchless, any percent glitchless, which reminds me that I'm actually on a world record pace in real life. Yeah. It's under the bitchless category, but I had been determined to find a game which I could speedrun for a while now. You saw the title and you're probably wondering, well, what game did I find to get the world record in? Well, I was looking for games on itch, Epic, Steam. I also thought to myself that if I was going to get a world record, I didn't want it to be in a game which had no previous records to break. So I couldn't just pick up a completely unknown game, beat it, and then claim to be the fastest player, because then I would also be the slowest, by default. So, I finally found the game while stumbling upon a YouTube video by Helper Wesley, who made a game under 48 hours. It's a 3-level rage platformer game which he made because of a game jam. I started watching it because I love indie game developers and watching their progress. The video is great, from how he talks about level design, play testing, color palettes, and struggling with a hobby while life just gets in the way. But he did mention one thing, which is the whole reason I'm making this video. Once he released the game, some players only wanted one thing: an option to speedrun. A lot of people had already speedrun. Speedran? Speedrun. Speedrun? A lot of people had already speedrun his game and gotten progressively faster and faster, which meant that I just had to be faster. So I downloaded the game, and that's where the journey began. So I knew there was 3 levels to beat, and the first one wasn't that much of a hassle. Wesley had already told the core game mechanics in his video. So for example, I already knew that if I simply walk off an edge, I could just jump in the air, so this should be a piece of cake. Yeah, I'm not good at video games, but once I mastered that, the first level was done. The second level was a bit trickier. You had to do some precise jumps, which really wasn't too bad, since most of my childhood I played games like Mario, where I usually would break the blocks in small patterns and parkour on them. And if I fell down, I would just try again, regardless how much time I had left on the clock. Please don't ask me why I was like this. I was a dumb and confused child, and to be honest with you, the only thing that has changed since then is that I'm not a child anymore. So for me, the only tricky part here was climbing up the wall, apparently. But when I cleared that, it was time for the next level. The third and last level was easily the hardest one. You had to zigzag between skill saws on the wall as well as the one going up and down, to then do some platforming to then time when you could jump to the next part, where a wall would just push you off or a saw blade would just be coming towards you. And then there's just a small lava pit to jump across. This wasn't too bad, to be honest. It's the next part that still annoys me today. You need to fall down this pit, time a jump so you can land safely on the ground, then crawl up this wall and then wait for these saws to get out of the way. And congratulations! You just entered hell. More saws going up and down. Some of them have different traveling lengths, which means you better get the timing right or you get sent the fuck back. Once you sign the contract with the devil who gives you the ability to clear the level, you beat the game and you unlock the speedrun function. While I did manage to beat the game with a reasonable amount of deaths, I think trying to speedrun a game is still very hard. So before starting, I checked out what I had to beat. 100 seconds? That's less than a minute. Wait, no. That's not how time works. It's less than 2 minutes. How is that possible? After contemplating my life for a little while, I decided to go for it. I mean, someone has gotten that time, so it must be reachable and hopefully beatable. I knew deep inside my heart that beating Arthur 555 was the only thing that mattered to me. So I got to work, and I quickly realized that playing through the whole game just once doesn't make you really good at the game. So I died again, And coincidentally, I died again. So instead of going from level 1 to 3, I practiced parts that were difficult for me a lot. And when I finally tried to speedrun again, it actually went okay. And when I finally finished one speedrun, I actually managed to get a time of 188 seconds. Which did mean that I had to cut down my time with 88 seconds, which is a lot in such a short game. But then something happened. No matter how cleanly I played, I couldn't get my time lower than 107 seconds. With that time, I did hold the second place on the leaderboard, but it still wasn't enough. I knew that I had to beat Arthuro, but it still seemed impossible. Now that we talk about Arthuro 555, do you also see the slight resemblance to, the devil? 555, 666. Just saying. That's the explanation you're going with. Yes. So Satan himself crawled out of the earth to sit down, beat the game, get the world record, just so you couldn't be the title holder? Yep. And that makes sense because? Yep. Okay. But nothing was going to stop me from beating him now that I was so close. But I needed a new plan. Now I knew that even if I played perfectly through the game the way that I played it, I could never beat Arthuro 666. So I knew I needed to change something. And now in this next section, I'm going to say something that will make every speedrunner wet. So if you're a speedrunner, just fucking watch out. I found out that I could optimize my route. Take it easy now, take it easy. I noticed in the first level, if you died, the little timer in the corner restarted, but the level didn't. Which meant that instead of walking down here and waiting for the wall to come back and then jump up, instead I could wait here until the wall was already on its way back, then die to just run under it and then beat the level, which actually cut my time down from around 19 seconds all the way down to 14 seconds. That's a huge time saver. Relax, relax. And after looking this up, I found out that it's actually a strategy known as death abuse. Okay, you gotta leave. In the second level, I also found out that you actually didn't have to pick up the little gem. You could just skip it entirely. And that saved me about 6 seconds. That's a total of 11 seconds I saved. With that knowledge, it actually meant that if I played with my new strategy, I could beat Lucifer. So I practiced the new route, and after a little while, I finally beat his score with about 4 seconds. Now, I didn't record my reaction, but if I did, it would have looked a little like this. I won! So yeah, that's how I got the world record in a game. And if you go ahead and download the game yourself, you can try and beat my score. It's linked under the video. And you can also see my record. Why is my record deleted? Why is there 4 levels now? Why is this girl added who can just blast me wherever I am? Did he update it while I was working on this video? No, in all honesty, go download the game. It's free. The game as well as Wesley's channel is linked under the video, so go subscribe to him. I had a lot of fun with it, so try and go beat my time. See ya.